how do I feel about one product or one offer supporting multiple types of people in your community? So basically, like, can you have one product or one course that you can use with one-on-one clients? You can do group programs, you can do self-study courses, high ticket, low ticket, and everything in between. That was basically the question. That was my understanding of the question. So I want to get that answered here. So I really do deeply believe that you can do whatever you want in your business, and you're not going to know until you test or try. So we take the scientific approach, as we always talk about, and we're always just testing things in our business to see what works and what doesn't work. Now, what I would say is that a lot of times someone who's looking for one-on-one support might not be the same person who's looking for a group program. Someone who's looking for live coaching might not be the same person as someone who's looking for a DIY self-study course. Someone who's ready to pay high ticket and invest in that might not be the same person who is only ready to invest low ticket and they're just getting started. So is it a clean wash? Is it like a perfect situation to have one product that serves all of the different people? I don't necessarily think that that's always going to work. Now, it's either going to be they're different people, or it's the same person, but they're on different parts of their customer journey. So someone that's getting started, they might be struggling with XYZ, they need help on blah, blah, blah. Maybe they need a lot of hand-holding and support, or maybe they want to do it self-study and they sort of want to dip their toe in the water to see if it's something that they even like or want. As they grow and evolve, and for me, as their businesses grow and evolve, whatever that journey might be, they might need a different type of support later on. They might be looking for a different, either more high touch point or less touch point. They might be less scared of investing and ready to dive all in, or maybe they don't need something like that. So it could be it's the same person, but in different spots of their journey, or they're completely different people. So my blanket statement answer is going to be that I don't know that one particular product can solve all problems for all people in your business in all capacities. However, what I do deeply believe is that over here at DBE, we have a proprietary framework. So it's called the EOM model. Or the EOM method. Our empowered organic method is the framework in which we use with all of our clients. So whether you're just starting out, if you're a one-on-one client, if you're in a group program, if it's live, if it's a self-study course, I'm going to teach you that framework no matter where you're at. Our elite mastermind members who are doing $500,000 to $1 million, $300,000 to $1 million in revenue, they're using that same model as well. So that's going to always be the framework in which we teach. So my answer is kind of like, if that framework is something that you're going to use with all of your clients, no matter how they're working with you, then could you take one product and sell it in a lot of different ways? The answer is probably yes. But what you do need to do is make sure that you're, number one, super clear on the messaging and people know exactly what they're going to get in all the different types of ways that they can consume that information. And then also, number two, just make sure that you're super clear in the information, people know what the deliverables are, so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, as always, it's all about messaging, right? It's making sure that you're really, really clear, because expectations equal experience. So it doesn't really matter if someone's working with you one-on-one, if they're in a group, if it's a course, it's do they understand what they're going to get? What's the value of the transformation for them? How are they going to get those deliverables? And what ultimately is going to be the transformation for them? So we're just talking right now about, someone had asked a question yesterday, could I have one product but use it for one-on-one clients as well as group coaching, as well as a self-study course? Now, the only other thing that I would say is if you are going to repurpose that one particular product or offer across multiple different delivery options, just make sure you're customizing it and tweaking it and enhancing it in a way that makes the most sense. For example, if I just took our signature program Empower, which is generally for the last 5 years, almost 6, been running as a live group coaching program. If I just took that and I gave that to people self-study and I didn't make any tweaks to it, it would feel a little confusing, because a lot of times in the videos I reference on the coaching call, make sure you put that in the Facebook group so that a coach can answer you, or on our live workshop, we're going to talk about ABC. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to like redo your entire product, but are there elements inside of your product that need to be tweaked? Is there messaging that you need to just let people know, like, hey, FYI, this program was created originally as a live group coaching program. So if you hear something like on a coaching call, just remember you're in a self-study version. And then vice versa. So if you have a lower ticket self-study program that you sell as a course and you want to turn it into a high ticket, high touch point live group coaching program, then what tweaks would you need to make? Obviously, you're going to add a call schedule, right? Someone in a self-study portal generally is not going to have a call schedule. So when are the calls going to be? Is there going to be like a live workshop? Do you want people finding accountability partners? Is there somewhere they're going to have to hand the homework in? Stuff like that. So you just want to get really clear if you are going to take your product or program and repurpose it in any way. How do you need to break it apart? What do you need to add to it to make more sense for the new customer journey? Because again, they're going through it in a different capacity. So what tools and resources can you give the person so that they have the best experience possible, no matter how they're going through the content? I hope that makes sense. How do you stay excited about selling the same offers? Oh my goodness, I love this question so much. So I have been selling, let's talk about my signature program right now. Actually, a Facebook memory came up yesterday from 8 years ago. I was selling, it was my first high touch, high ticket, like group coaching program 8 years ago. It was an 8-week online program with live coaching and a community and modules and all that 8 years ago. It was called It's My Turn. And my memory popped up yesterday of the second time that I was launching that particular program. And I ran that a handful of times before running a lot of other programs and all health, fitness, women's, confidence, all of that stuff. That's where I came from 8 years ago. Oh my gosh. It's crazy to think about it. So today, where we are today, we really have the meat and potatoes of the business, and what we're known for is our signature program, Empower, that I talk about all the time. Now, Empower was birthed in 2017, so that was 6 years ago. That's crazy. And we have run 18 live rounds of Empower. So that one product alone, I have launched 18 times. That's a lot of times. Now, all in, I've launched over 100 times with lots of different programs. Like I said, It's My Turn, Food Freedom University. Like, I've been doing this for a long time. So how do you stay excited? Now, when Empower was first born, I was running it 4 times a year. So 1 time a quarter, we'd run it live, just like school. It was a semester. Everybody would start on the same day, end on the same day. We'd all be on chapter 1, chapter 2. We ran that 4 times a year. And then during 2020, we actually ran it 5 times that year because there was so much demand and so many people needed help moving online. And then we started slowly coming back down to 4 times a year, 3 times a year, 2 times a year. And now we only run it 1 time a year. So 6 years experience with this one program, 18 live rounds of it. We've launched it 1 million times. And if you were to zoom out on my business, everything that I talk about for the most part kind of leads back to the same person for Empower. Like, all of my content really talks mostly to the person who is ready or wanting to build a group course or a group coaching program, an online course. It's all around the person who wants help with organic marketing with social media and digital courses. Like, everything I talk about is around content and launching courses, creation, etc. And so how do I talk about it and not get bored? Well, here's the cold hard truth. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do get bored. Sometimes I'm not always excited. Sometimes I'm not always lit up. Sometimes I don't feel like it's the most exciting thing. It's not the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning, if I'm being honest with you. Now, what is the thing that gets me out of bed? Well, it's much deeper than that one particular product or that one offer. What gets me excited and out of bed in the morning is getting behind how it changes lives. So while I might not be excited to talk about it every day, or every single launch might feel like the same thing over and over, and it feels a little hamster wheely, which is like the opposite reason as to why I became an entrepreneur. I'm not into the hamster wheel. Hence why, for me, being an elementary school teacher, it actually was extremely constricting. Like, being an elementary school teacher for me, which I did for 8 years, has its pros, of course. I had the best job in the world. I was an elementary school phys ed teacher. But every single year it was like back to school night, school assembly, school book fair, field day. And that monotony, that consistency for me drove me crazy. So I learned very quickly that merry-go-rounds, Ferris wheels, hamster wheels, Certainty, not for me. When I learned the core needs, the human needs that Tony Robbins teaches, I started learning that I actually love uncertainty. And so I would much rather trade that certainty in for a roller coaster ride of uncertainty, which is entrepreneurship. Welcome to the table. So the consistency of the same thing over and over and over can feel really boring, and it can be really hard to get excited about it. So here's the thing. I don't necessarily get excited about the way that I'm talking about empower, right? I don't necessarily get excited when I'm teaching the same thing for the 1,000th time, or I'm writing a piece of content for the 1,000th time talking about the 3 Ps to a profitable niche. But what I can get excited about is what that's going to do for you and your business. I can't necessarily get behind every single day being excited to talk about the same thing, but I can get behind if this post hits one person that reads it, despite the fact if they like it, share it, comment on it, I don't care. If they're silently watching in the background and this one post gives them an aha moment, if this one thing that I say gives them permission to do it differently, if this one thing just hits them in a way that they take back what they're hearing from me and they bring that back into their family, into their business, into their day, this is the ripple effect. It's like when you hold the door for somebody when they're walking through a door, like you see that mom with the stroller, with the carriage and the diaper bag and the purse, and she's like fumbling everywhere, and you hold the door for her. We hope that maybe later in the day, she'll then hold the door for somebody else. That's not why we do it, but you can hope as a human, it's like, oh, maybe she'll actually let someone go in front of her when she's driving. Maybe someone has their blinker on and they need to cut over because they're in the wrong lane. Maybe me doing that one nice act for her and holding the door open, maybe she'll then pass that on to somebody else, right? And so that's the ripple effect of change. So yeah, full transparency. I'm not always giddy about the things that I'm teaching or talking about. And sometimes it is hard to get excited about something that you've been talking about for 6 years. And for me, it's like, how do I sell it in a different way? How can I get excited about it in a different way? How do I talk about it in a new, evolved way as technology and society has changed, as the coaching industry is more saturated than it's ever been? It was the wild, wild west 11 years ago when I started. There were not a lot of us. Now there's a lot of us. And I'm breeding my own competition as a business coach, right? I'm coaching people, whether they're trainers, accountants, lawyers, somatic breathwork coaches. I also sometimes am coaching other business coaches. Now, it's not like a pyramid scheme of coaching coaches, but sometimes people who come through my programs either are or convert and pivot into business coaching after they've had success. And so you could look at it like I'm actually breeding my own competition, or I can just look at it as great. It's like I'm creating an army of people who are helping more people. And so we're on the front lines right now, all putting out this content and making these aha moments and waves to help more people create their life and business that they desire, and of freedom, and of all of these things. So by me helping more people, we get to help more people, and that's awesome. So I can't always get behind saying the same thing over and over and putting on a fake smile. People can feel it. People know when you're not into it. Like, we're smart. We can read between the lines. It's all about energy here, right? And this is what a lot of people talk about, magnetic, right? Like attraction-based marketing and being a magnet and all of that. What that really means is we can see through the BS. And if you're just putting on a face and you're faking it, you better believe your audience is going to know about it. If you're not confident in selling it, they're not going to be confident in buying it. And there is no way that you can fake it. So I personally get behind, what's this going to do for other people? How is this going to affect their life and their business? How are they going to take back what I'm saying, even if I'm bored of saying it, even if I've said it 9 million times? I say the same thing all the time, which on the other hand is a really good thing because it becomes part of my brand and there's brand recognition. So there are things that I say, if anyone's on here who's been around for a really long time, or maybe you're a client of mine, if you have one of my one-liners in top of mind, I would love you to drop that into the comment section. For example, I say things all the time like build your life around your business, not your business around your life. I say things like simple scales and complex fails. I say things like take messy action. Give me some of the other ones that I say, but I say these things all the time. Action breeds clarity, or action breeds confidence. That's another one, right? It's the ABC method. There's so many things that I say all the time in my business. And here's the truth about it. As a brand, as a business owner, you want people, yes, go deep before you go wide. Earn your right to go wide. It's another one that I say all the time. You want people to be able to say what it is that you say all the time. I've seen quotes before. It's like, especially when you're pitching or launching, you have to say it enough or so many times that they can say it without you saying it. Like the fact that there are people on right now, some of them have not even been clients of mine, and they're saying things that I say all the time. That's a really good thing. Nike is very happy to know that we all know, just do it. You have to say it so many times that they're repeating it back without you even asking. When they're repeating it back, they being your ideal client, when they're saying it in their head and you're not even prompting it, that's a good thing. It means that you're top of mind. Or, for example, I don't know how many people here have been around for a really long time, but there was something that I used to do every single day on stories, for years when I lived in New York City, and it had to do with a banana. That sounds awful. Does anyone here know what it was? Every single day on stories, I did something with a banana. That sounds so dirty. Get your mind out of the gutter. But it was so much a part of my brand and how I showed up and what I did. People would literally tag me when they were at the grocery store and they saw bananas. Like they would tag me when they saw a candle made out, like that was a banana, or a bathing suit that had bananas on it. People would tag my account because they were relating a banana to me. And for the record, what I did with the banana was every day while I walked to work, because I used to be a personal trainer, I would talk to my Instagram stories, and I would be talking, like just talking. So the 3 P's to a profitable niche are blah, 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 blah. Oh, sorry, hold on 1 second. And then I would pull my banana out of my pocket and I'd go ring, ring, and I'd pull it out and I'd be like, hey, the universe is calling. Just wanted to remind you that you are worthy, right? And every day I did the banana phone. Anytime I wanted to interrupt, I wanted to say something, I wanted to do some like mindset stuff. And it was so much a part of my brand for so many years that people literally would tag me when they saw a banana. Other things that I did for years, every single morning, instead of doing these get ready with me's, I used to do handstand chats. So I would put the phone on the floor under my face with the camera facing up, and I would do a handstand, and I would have a morning conversation in a handstand, which I should bring that back. People would do handstands at the gym and they would tag me. You want to say something so many times, you want to do something so many times that people are bringing it up without you ever even bringing it up. And so do I ever get bored? Do I ever feel stagnant? Do I ever feel stuck? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not about what you're saying. It's about what you're saying could do for other people. So how can you get behind that? How do you get behind that one person silently watching in the back who never actually shows up, who never DMs you, who never comments, shares, likes, or saves, but they're consuming everything you say, and everything you say they're bringing back into their life? So how do I stay excited about selling the same offers? I get behind what it's going to do for other people. I remind myself, honestly, sometimes I have to go back through and watch our testimonial videos again, or read through our testimonials, or look at the screenshots, because for me, it's old news. I could teach this stuff in my sleep. I've done it so many times, it's just second nature. But when I go through and I read those testimonials, or I watch those testimonial videos, you better believe every time we're getting ready for a launch, I go back in and I refresh. I remind myself of how life-changing our program is. I remind myself of the results our clients have been able to get. And sometimes it does. It takes a second for me to get out of my body and get into the reality of what it is that we're doing. So that's how I do it. I check in with the clients. I look at the results. I look at the proof. I go back. I see the evidence. I remind myself that it's not about me. It's about them. It's never been about me. And if I were to always be chasing the next thing that I was excited about, then I'd be changing my business model all the time. We're multi-passionate humans. That's how we work. 1 month we want to learn Spanish. The next month we buy a guitar. The month after that we decide we want to take dance lessons. You can't build your business on your passion. It's always changing. The definition of passion is uncontrollable emotion. So don't build your business. Don't rely on your launches to come from motivation or passion. Motivation's like caffeine. It's fickle. It wears off every single day, right? And then we scroll for quote unquote inspiration, and all we end up doing is feeling like we're comparing ourselves to others and feeling behind and comparing ourselves to our past selves, and ultimately just exhausting ourselves. We're not actually we're not finding inspiration. It's quite opposite of that. So Surround yourself with the people who can remind you. Get back down deep to your why. Think about different ways to talk about your product or offer that's going to light you up and get you excited. Think about different ways that you can deliver your product or offer that's a new elevated way. So same content, different delivery. I mean, we're doing that right now. And I'm so excited. We've been working diligently behind the scenes. We're launching something in a couple weeks. And with that thing that we're launching, we have a brand new platform that we're using that's going to make your life easier. Like, it's a whole new way that we're creating a course or delivering a course to make your life easier. We're keeping up with the technology. We're keeping up with the changes. We're listening to our clients. We're making tweaks and iterations. And so while I've run 18 rounds of Empower, the traditional route of Empower, not one round has ever looked the same, ever. We started creating workbook pages, and then all of a sudden we had a 140-page book that was created, cohort after cohort after cohort. At first, there was no syllabus. At first, there were no other coaches. It started with a couple support coaches. Now we have a staff of 14 coaches. It started with, here's your call schedule on like a little image that I created in a Facebook group. Now you get Google invites direct to your Google Calendar with the call schedule. It gets enhanced every single time. So while I've run it 18 times, no two classes have ever looked the same. And we joke all the time, but the people who went through round 1 or 2 or even like 8 of Empower, oh my God, that was like the prehistoric ages. They had a completely different experience and they know nothing else, but they had a completely different experience that people who now come through round 18 or our upcoming spring class 19. Every single round, we're tweaking the messaging, the marketing, the delivery, the features, everything gets tweaked. And I'll end with this today. There's a difference between making a change and making an enhancement. When you're launching something over and over and over, which is what I believe is the best way to do a business, right? Like, just do it, do what's working and make it better. Like, do it over and over and over and just keep making it better. When you're doing that, you're bound to have success, because if something's working, don't change it, right? Like, why fix it if it's not broke? That's kind of the mindset there. So I lost my train of thought, what I was going to end on. Oh, difference between a tweak or an enhancement and a change. When you're doing a launch, when you're changing things, be careful that you don't make too many changes, because remember, we're scientists in our business, and every time you make a change, you're not going to be able to know what it was that caused the new reaction or what didn't cause the new reaction. So if you change both chemicals that you're pouring together, you're never going to know which chemical was the one responsible for the explosion happening. So instead of making a lot of changes from launch to launch, make enhancements. You can make as many enhancements as you want, but at our team, we try not to make more than one change. So even with our launch vehicle, if you always run a challenge, and every year you run a challenge for your launch vehicle, and then you decide you want to run a webinar, very different than a challenge, that's a change. But if you used to tell people come to the webinar at 3 p.m. and now you send people a link where they can just add it to their calendar, that's an enhancement. So make as many enhancements to your launch, to your messaging, and to your product as you want, but be very mindful that you're not making too many changes. And with that, I appreciate all of your questions. This was a fun one today. I'm going to pop off. Make sure you join me tomorrow. Bring your questions. Get ready to go. I love doing these so much. Remember, these don't live on my Instagram. They are going to live over, sometimes they live over on our podcast. We do 2 to 3 episodes per week, long episodes, solo episodes, mic drop episodes with my husband, Mike, who's in the business, and of course, guest episodes. So as always, happy Wednesday and cheers to your evolution. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.